everyone, welcome to Wicked.west.books. My name is Meg West, and today we're going to be talking about my rereadables. That is, we're going to talk about the books that I enjoy rereading as many times as I possibly can. That does not mean rereading book 1 because it took 4 years for book 2 to come out and you need to remember all of the details that lead up to book 2, or even when there's just 1 year before book 1 and book 2. I'm talking about the books that I can read every year or even multiple times a year and not get tired of the story, the characters, and just everything that they entail. They are the most comfy reads for me, and I want to share what they are with you. One of the first series is the Mercy Thompson novels by Patricia Briggs, as well as the Alpha and Omega series by Patricia Briggs. These are all of the paperback books that are out so far. There is one hardback copy that I am missing, but these are books that I can pick any book in either series because they're in the same world and just read them. The first book that I would recommend reading is Mooncalled. This is the first story in the Mercy Thompson series that's set in this world. Basically, Mercy Thompson is a skinwalker. She can turn herself into a coyote, and it's not the same thing as werewolfism because her changes are not violent and they are not tied to the face of the moon. No matter what position the moon is in, she can change or not change according to her own will on it. She is also a VW mechanic. She works on these Volkswagens as she has been trained by one of the iron-touched fae, and it basically starts at her garage where a werewolf who seems to be homeless and very, very young just kind of shows up on her door. She starts taking care of him, and unfortunately a plot ensues around that causes a lot of trouble for Mercy and the local werewolf pack. And Mooncalled is a great start. It gets you into this great world that is an urban fantasy, so you already kind of know the world, and it just adds these fantastic creatures, including the werewolves, who I love. You have the fae who gave her this garage, who is just a grumpy old fae, and I absolutely love him. And then you've got the vampire Stefan, who has an obsession with Scooby-Doo so much that he has painted his van to look like the mystery van. And Mercy got him a Christmas present that was a life-size Scooby-Doo stuffed animal to sit in the passenger seat. And my favorite book in the series to actually reread is book number 3, which is Iron Kissed, because it has the most amount of Ben in it so far. And Ben does have a short story in the Shifting Shadows book, but you really get your first look into his kind of personality in this book. And I do want to give a trigger warning on this for rape, because there is one that happens in here, so just be aware of that before you get into the series. Talk about is the Dark Jewels trilogy by Anne Bishop. That includes Daughter of the Blood, Heir to the Shadows, and Queen of Darkness. And these are the first 3 books in the Dark Jewels series, and it is the original trilogy, and it's the best place to start out. I really have no problem rereading any of the books in any certain order, but the ones that focus on Janelle growing up are these ones and coming into her power, and the main storyline is here. The rest of the book can kind of be used as standalones, and then there is the Shalador's Lady duology. And I absolutely love the characters in this, but the thing that gets it for me in this series is that the world is so rich and so detailed and so well put together and so well balanced, and it's one of, if not the most incredible world that I have ever read, so I very highly recommend these. However, they also have a trigger warning for rape. It's a big subject throughout the whole thing. The next one I want to talk about is Sherilyn Kenyon's The League series. This is the first book, Born of Night. The rest of them are all right here. This is another series where I can pick up any book in the series and just read it as many times as I want to. And it is a very kind of sci-fi romance series where they are aliens, but they're also very, very human, and basically there is a war going on between their Assassin's Guild called the Scintilla and the original Assassin's Guild called the League, and it's just kind of their battle for control of the Akkadian universe. Just as the story goes along, as that plotline progresses, each man that's involved and each woman that's involved in this basically become a big family and fall in love and start their own families that will continue the Scintilla's mission in getting rid of the corruption of the League. The next one I want to talk about is the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and more specifically, the Court of Mist and Fury, because the second I finished it, I wanted to go right on back and reread it. I had a lot of other books to read, so I didn't do that. But I'm looking forward to rereading this as either my next book or the book after, not only because the new one comes out and I'm sure I'm going to want to read that several times over, but just because this one was just so great and so well written, and true love. I love true love. The next two books I want to talk about, the last two books I want to talk about, are the books that I know I have read the most often, and I have read them at least 6 times a piece. I think I've actually read them more, but I cannot get enough of going back and rereading these books. The first one is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which, like I said before, I absolutely love stories, and this has to be my favorite one of all time, probably, because not only is it, a nice love story, it's told well, I love the characters, you get a nice amount of drama in it. You also have two characters that, in falling in love with each other, they both get better with their own lives and their own characteristics and grow from the relationship. And I love seeing that in books. And the final one I want to talk about, I again have read 6 or 7 times, and that is The Host by Stephenie Meyer. This is the book that she put out after Twilight, so her writing style improved, and it's not a girl falling in love with the vampire who is 100 years older than her. Wanda's probably hundreds of years older than Jared. And it just kind of has this reminiscent feeling from Animorphs, which I grew up reading, but makes it into a more adult tale, and it's a story that I can finish and immediately start over and not get bored with it. Those are my most rereadable books. Anytime I want to, I can pick one of them up and read it and not be annoyed with the story, not be annoyed with the characters or the writing style. Everything in those books just never gets old to me, and I love everything about them. So I read them more often than any other book on my shelf. So if you have a book that is your most rereadable, I would love to know about it in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. I post videos every Thursday, or else I lose books. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wicked day.